whatever.
Looks like you're not gonna get into this room. You can steal a lot of random hospital stuff though.
Shoot. I'm gonna.
Ooh, you can get a whole bunch of those Japanese face mask things.
What? Oh. For some reason, I thought you were talking about no masks. And
Oh no! Yes, there's the no mask room. It's like, this is unexpected.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm gonna keep looking around, see if I can think of something.
Mm-hmm. All right. So after about 45 minutes or so, the all clear signals.
So they didn't come down and like spot me or nothing down there.
Well, no.
Okay.
They probably would have, but you know how these things work, and I'm presuming that Miles is sufficiently skilled in these areas that he's not just standing in front of cameras. Right. Hey, look, there's a kid in the basement, like, wandering around. There's also tons of people wandering around, so there's a little bit confusing. Also, the people who are generally looking for this stuff are distracted because there's a doctor up there asking for footage, and like a bunch of people are paying attention. There's like, oh, the hospital's on lockdown. There are guards all over the place, but that guy's looking at weird footage in the morgue. Let's see what's happening over there. So they're a little bit distracted. So after 45 minutes, the all clear goes up. People are super happy. Tons of people are streaming out of the hospital. The main thing is that the all clear sign is very clearly like when you're in ops and you realize that basically there's a certain protocol for stuff like this. They check what they can, but there's a limit to how long you can shut down a hospital in this size.
Sure.
And so they follow the baseline protocol. They go, look, yes, patients get lost, but that happens. As for a missing corpse, you know what? Corpses don't just go missing. Odds are it just some labeling error happened. It's probably in a hallway somewhere.
There is no way. All right.
Well, I mean, that they're not going to keep the hospital locked down for 24 hours.
No. I understand. I'm just The rationalization makes sense. It's just to my mind, it's like there's no way that's what happened. Yeah.
Oh, in the game, there's no way that happened.
Yeah.
In terms of actual hospital rules, this is exactly what happens because they're not going to shut down a multi-billion-dollar hospital facility because some body got misplaced.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they call the all clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to pick up a Kenny Red Comm and be like, what's going on? Did you find the body? Like, call the security room. This is the head security room. Like, if I can get a hold of Cunningham.
You're up there now.
No. I took the elevator back down to the lobby.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If I can get a hold of Cunningham, I will.
Oh, yeah, you can call up there.
Yeah, I'm going to call up. Did you find the body? Like,
no.
So we just ran out of time?
Well, we're not going to keep the hospital locked down like until we find it. It could be like sometimes it could be days.
No, I understand. Did your men find anything?
No, nothing out of the ordinary at all.
Okay, thank you for your hard work. I'll hang up the phone.
All right. They're very upset because this is going to be like days of paperwork and stuff like that. It's just a nightmare for them. Everybody is pretty much trying to figure out how to cover their asses because at this point they're going to look for something. And like the doctor who signed off is like, he's just thinking, okay, was there any chance I put a label in the wrong thing? It's like the orderlies are like, we're gonna get fired because it's always gonna be our fault because we're like replaceable. Yeah, security people are gonna be, we just need to make sure all the paperwork is put up perfectly. We have nothing to do with it. All the footage confirms that nothing happened and there was no security flaws. Nobody was anywhere they shouldn't be. Maybe at some point in time, they might review footage and see that some kid was wandering around the hallways, and either they're going to...
So, is there a string of cameras leading from when the body was... the Spanish kid's body was put on the gurney, and then wheeled by the orderlies to the point where we stopped them and had a conversation with them, and then continued?
There is not a perfect string of images.
Okay.
Because there are certain parts... Like, there's a camera in the OR... for basically inquest purposes. Yeah. There's a camera in the hallway, mostly for security purposes.
Right.
The elevators all have cameras in them, but there are tons of blind spots along the way.
Right, so anything could have happened in one of those. All right. Woo, okay. I'm going to do my best to find Officer Hale. Hale and Hardy.
Well, it depends on if they stuck around, because once we get to the all clear, it's kind of like super chaotic. So if Hale and his partner stay around, you can find them. It's a huge hospital complex. You didn't get any contact information for them. Fair. So they would have to actually just be hanging around to be found for you to be able to find them.
Yeah.
Don't think we would be.
You guys just leave? Alright, in that case. Oh, go ahead.
Well, we're with where Peter is.
And I was going to fill out paperwork to see the autopsy happen, but there's no body now, so...
Yeah, if I can't find them and they didn't stick around, I'm going to go to Kyle's son's room.
Okay. So you can definitely go up there and find them. Because you are very confident that's probably what ended up happening.
Right.
You two either would leave at this point and go back to your jobs where you actually are cops doing cop stuff instead of being stuck in a hospital all day, or you can believe that there's something going on here and continue researching the hospital. Once the hospital is re-up, you're going to have a harder time like just badging your way all over the place, because at some point they're like, okay, what's going on? Why are you here in pediatrics? It's like, no, you can't
Bust
just take
down
that
the door.
baby. It's like, that baby, we need it for evidence.
It was a corpse, baby.
It's a suspect.
It's like,
Her number is 100.
Hey,
Well, would we still be with Peter's guy? Or not? No. Because we were with you, but would we just leave you to go back to... Are
well,
back
you
to
guys
your-
split up.
right.
He went up to
split
his
up.
room. In
That's
fact,
right.
you do kind of know where he went because, like, during the... I'm presuming that despite what happened in the real world, that Hale is actually a pretty good cop, and so are you. And
Yeah.
so you guys
Uh-huh.
do know that he said, oh, my son is here in a coma in the hospital. He's the only survivor of, like, a spray incident.
my son.
And you do manage, because he gave you his name,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can find out where he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get up there and you see him in the room. You should make a spot hidden.
Sweet.
God, a second chance.
Let's see. Okay, so I have a 65 in this. And I pass with a 6 under 65.
Okay, that's
Holy
very
shit.
easy because
Yes.
you are a doctor, and so unlike a father who's a chemist,
I'm all thinking about all the missed chances I
Yeah.
had with the guy downstairs.
Yes.
So it's like I'm
And
holding
with your
onto
son.
my son's hand.
Yeah.
And I'm like staring aimlessly at the wall, totally thinking about how I should have acted downstairs.
yeah. So you're like lost in thought when you suddenly like hear and see an image enter the room, and it's the doctor.
Oh,
He, being a doctor, does what all doctors do immediately when they enter a room, even as basically as a routine. So he doesn't even think about it. He looks over at the instruments, he looks at the chart, basically as a reflex, because that's what you do.
Right.
And you immediately notice that there's a spike in his brain activity scan. Like there's a, it just usually it's just this history, and it's just like does the usual thing, and kids in comas have a thing. But you look up and you go, hey, what's this? And you notice an anomaly, and there's a period of about 10 minutes where there's this crazy spike of like insane brain activity that like is off the charts, and then it drops back down.
Kyle, your son,
The time frame
Yeah, I was going to say.
perfectly matches the period of time when the orderlies took the body away and the guy left.
Is this type of brain activity subsistent to being conscious, or is it subsistent to being like heavy dreaming?
Neither.
Oh.
It's like off the charts, unbelievable brain activity.
Is it like seizure brain activity, or it's like,
Closer to that. It's
Okay.
closer to seizure brain activity.
Overload.
You might remember that there was a TV series called
General Hospital?
no Ash. It was based on a movie that
is it
had
House?
No,
Unbreakable.
Grey's
or,
Anatomy. Yes, we're thinking
Is
the
it
same.
Unbreakable?
Not
or
Unbreakable.
whatever, the one where 100% brain power
Yeah.
makes you immortal.
Yeah.
Lucy.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
whatever.
Limitless.
Limitless, yeah.
Ah,
So
yeah.
basically, it's just like that. Like we were in a TV show. They said, "Oh yeah, this is what happens when you take the pill," and they show you that brain activity scan. That's not a real thing that can happen to normal people.
I was going to say, that's ridiculous.
This is what it looks like. It looks like this is what would happen if your brain was firing at full capacity for a while, and somehow it didn't kill you.
Yeah.
So I like stare at the chart for a second, or I stare at the readout for a second.
Like your first thought is that this is a
Glitch.
power glitch. Like
Yeah.
there was a surge or something. Because if a human brain did this, it would just burn itself out.
I'm going to check the kid's vital signs and make sure everything's okay.
He is in a coma. Like,
Everything-
everything is like
Well, you know
boring.
that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's boring. What I mean is that it's boring. Okay. Like
Okay,
everything's at like
gotcha.
minimal baselines that he's still alive.
Everything.
He didn't like sweat a whole bunch or get all clammy or.
Still, there's something that nags at me about this.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I try to kind of.
Everything okay, Joe? You haven't checked his vitals in months.
Your son had some odd brain activity.
He's in coma. What do you mean by odd?
You can point out the.
I show you the readout and point to like all where the crazy needle, where the crazy.
God,
This is
this is
beyond.
incredible.
No, this is beyond anything we've seen. Now, it's probably a power glitch. We shouldn't jump to
You
conclusions.
do recognize that when you were experimenting with your
Kyle.
anti-Alzheimer's drugs, that you did get readings like this from mice. That not quite like this, but this kind of spiking that indicated that you were somehow stimulating brain activity where it had previously been gone.
But it is very odd to me that your son's increased brain activity matches perfectly with the time frame of this whole incident downstairs.
That is really strange. A signal, perhaps. Maybe a timed trigger.
What?
A chemical trigger.
What are you talking about?
Well, something odd. I mean, the other kid took the drug too. Maybe something similar happened to them both. It's the first time
we need to find that body.
Can you look up the historical information on that brain scan to see if this has happened before and it's been unnoticed?
Sure. Yeah, I'll scroll back through and see.
Yeah,
what
so
happened.
you look for the record. It takes a little bit, but you have access. So you
Yeah.
just type into the thing, and it shows you kind of like ever since he was admitted. And there was one such spike previous to this. It was a couple days ago, but
On Friday.
can't- Yeah, but
Yeah.
you can't coordinate it to any other incident
Ah.
that would have been.
It
Like,
doesn't.
matched
It
up.
doesn't match up with my incident in the operating
It does
room?
not match up with
Okay,
that.
alright.
So
Hmm.
Strange that it would happen. Strange that it would happen to both.
in fact, it was like Friday early afternoon.
This is incredible. Perhaps they've gone further with the drug than I had imagined. Maybe this is what happens when the drug works. Is this the end result of my research? Is this what I was supposed to have made?
What is the drug supposed to do exactly?
It's just supposed to fix the brain. Just Alzheimer's is a disease. It's supposed to cure it.
You know enough about the science of how Alzheimer's is believed to work that what he's describing is basically like brand new cellular genesis. Like we're regrowing neuron connections. You're increasing axial length. You're like getting rid of like plaques and things like that.
No, it's like right on the edge of a science fiction.
Yeah, it's one of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things that you pretty much are sure cannot be done, or if it did, it would lead to like
Yeah.
massive brain
This
tumors.
this should hopefully explain all the science fiction I was
This
talking
is a
about
this is a Black
before.
Mirror conceit, right?
Yeah.
Here. All right.
Uh-huh.
So I just stare at the readout for a second and say, something's going on. I don't know what, but I've experienced incidents like this before, and something is going on.
What do you mean you've experienced something like this before? You've experienced high brain activity before?
No,
Are you telling me you've experienced an epiphany?
paranormal incidents like this before.
Paranormal. What do you mean paranormal? None of this is paranormal. It's a drug. It does stuff. It might do something strange.
Kyle,
We don't.
we have
completely
no
understand.
idea where the body went. It was swapped out with the corpse of an old white man. And your son had a spike in brain activity in the exact same time that occurred.
I don't think it was ever. I don't think there was ever a swap. I think that body was transformed into that white man. When could that swap have happened? Why would that swap happen?
There are blind spots all between where the
What?
where the kid was operated on and to the morgue.
So you're suggesting that they stole this kid's body?
Yes, because like you and I, they're trying to figure out what's going on with color spray. And a victim...
Who's they?
I don't know. And a victim in the victim's blood would be
Wait,
perfect
wait.
for something like
So-
that.
You mentioned supernatural activity, and you just believe that the Hispanic kid's body turned into the like middle-aged guy.
I make miracle drugs for a living.
You tried to make a miracle drug for a living, and it started killing people.
Don't you remind me of my failings.
All right,
I have dreams.
Oh, by the way, you have an inkling of a thought that so much of your questions could be answered if you could just cut into his brain.
Yeah, that probably passes through my mind.
Yeah. You're not sure you should mention it to the father. You also think that if he were thinking scientifically, it would have occurred to him by now as well.
Kyle, something is happening here. We need to figure out what it is. You have the ability to do this. You've been hunting these dealers for nights now. We need to set up a sting.
A sting?
Yes.
I've tried. I don't have the contacts. They all see me from a mile away. I think they know about the trench coat by now.
Why are you... Alright. They don't have to know it's you that's involved at first, right? We can say we have a storage of spray. We can get somebody by who wants to buy it. Maybe we can start asking them questions about what's been happening.
It's an interesting thought. Find out who actually wants to buy spray.
Exactly.
The spray is ruining your neighborhood.
There was a terrifying howl outside our window just now, listeners. That's why we both freaked out for a second.
It sounded like a...
There it is again.
I think it's
I hear that.
It's cats fighting.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
some
certainly a
cats
stupid
fighting.
cat.
Yeah.
Cats with their human voices.
Goat yelling outside.
You want to set up a sting? I don't know about this. Like,
I look at you and I look down at your son and say, "Do you have any other ideas then?" Because I can think of one other idea.
I'm pretty close to synthesizing spray. I didn't want to mention it, but that's another thought. I might lose my job because of it, though.
I understand, but in the end, what good would that do us?
I don't know. What's your other thought?
Your son and your son's brain activity might hold the key to how the drug works and why it's doing these things. If there was a way we could examine that.
Cut to the chase. What are you suggesting?
We should cut your son's head open and check his brain.
He's my son.
Yes, I know.
He's effectively dead. You pull the
Oh,
plug,
that-
he'll go.
Yes, I know.
He's all that I have left.
But we're running out of options.
I can't.
Look, it's either you sit here doing nothing and your son goes on in a coma, or we take a risk, cut into your son's head, and possibly find something out that can help him. Or we can set up the sting. You choose. Or give me another idea. We have to figure out what's going on. I can't just sit here and not do anything anymore.
Let's set up the sting.
Okay.
Listen. I don't know. Should we talk to Hale?
Why would we talk to the cop?
I don't know how to set
That's
up
like
a
the
sting.
exact opposite of what we want to do.
Stings are what
faking
cops
selling
do.
drugs.
Cops do that. Haven't you seen the shows? By the way,
There's no way.
Does he know you used to be in the military, or does
I
he
don't
not?
think that's
Okay, yeah. In that case, this makes perfect sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
neither of you technically should have any ability to do this.
Yeah.
If he were a better vigilante, maybe, but you both are pretty much in agreement that he's bad at this.
I make drugs for a living.
I don't think there's any
I like how
way.
this is your go-to. You're like the classic, like, I'm a doctor, not a scientist thing. It's like, I
Yeah.
make drugs for... Every time anything goes wrong, your answer is, I make drugs for a living.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like-
you know.
Kyle,
Oh.
why'd you shoot that guy? I make drugs for a living. Sometimes I take them.
Like,
I'm tripping balls right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I go, there's no way we can talk to Hale without getting arrested.
Okay, let's set up a sting. I gotta make a contact. You know, that kid talked something about the dark web. Maybe we can have him
Yeah.
set out a feeler.
I still don't
Something
understand
like
what that is.
I assume it's like a more evil.
you guys know what the dark
Form.
web is. It's
I
in
don't.
the news all the time.
I don't.
It is in the news.
Yes,
Okay.
they talk about it a lot. Remember the whole...
You know, especially if you've been researching Sting. You at least
spray,
know.
yeah.
like, it's huge
Spray,
in
you mean?
popular
Spray.
culture.
No, Sting's huge into the dark
All
side.
right.
He'll be
He's
watching
huge
you.
on the dark
Yeah.
web.
Yeah, I think he might know. I think he might know how to set up the sting.
Listen, we just leave on the red light.
You think the kid knows somebody? It's recording.
I think he knows how to find somebody.
Okay. Sure.
Listen, he seems to be. I think his project is bullshit. He's onto something.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk to him then. Where is he anyway? I haven't seen him since the lockdown started.
What, he wasn't with you?
No, I thought he went with you.
No, he didn't.
Scene shit.
Yep. All right. So do you two continue to do hospital research, or do you go back to your jobs?
Well, Nick, you're like invested in Spray. Wouldn't you want to like try and find out more? I don't know.
I mean, I would just be searching for the kid's body, and that seems like a dead end. Like I could be doing something better with my time.
It's a huge hospital complex.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
looking for it here, like after the few initial,
I don't know the hospital that well.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's likely a
wandering around,
paperwork thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like this is this fucking town, man.
Thomas, what is your personality like? Are you like the friendly cop who waves at people out the window? Or are you like the I'm knitting, I can't be bothered to pay attention while...
It's like he does it in the car. He doesn't do it all the time. But
Okay.
like, I think he's like a follower cop. Like he follows Nick as like he's like okay, and like he's into it, but he's not like a super like.
Are you guys beat cops or cruiser cops?
Beat is like walking around.
Yeah.
Cruiser is like driving around.
Yeah.
Driving.
Okay.
Cruiser.
Alright, so when you're in the cruiser, are you mostly knitting or are you mostly like looking around?
I'm always knit.
Are you profiling people? Like what's
I mean,
your-
it's like it was a traumatic event that just happened, so he's probably knitting and looking around.
Alright, so why don't you give me a die roll?
Whoa.
Oh,
Should I just take Al's roll? I see you.
guess die roll.
Ooh,
Go anywhere you want.
new segment.
Oh, I know. We just have a little music. 27.
Oh, that's pretty good.
All right. So Hale,
Mm-hmm.
you see your partner like look up and wave at someone outside the window. Remember, it's Sunday afternoon. It's daylight. It's fall. You're just driving down Michigan Avenue.
You're
There's
supposed to be
tons of
safe.
people who are just like
Mhm.
shopping and tourism.
You can whisper it in my ear. Who am I wearing?
I glance over like what's he doing?
He's waving to a crowd of like people that's like standing outside of the Barnes and Noble. Oh, it's gone now. I don't know what's there now, but there's a shop and he's waving. There's a crowd of people
Great
standing
mural.
there.
Who are you waving at?
You were waving at a homeless lady who was waving at you.
Just some lady, just sort of a homeless lady. He's waving at me. What'd she look like?
That makes me like do like a more serious like glance back.
You see absolutely nothing there except like tourists and regular people who are just standing on the sidewalk. What you saw was this huge crowd of people, and there was like this. You know how there are those homeless people who have like 17 like plastic bags filled with stuff, and
Yeah.
they're just carrying them all around. They're somehow attached to their belt and stuff like that. It was like that. She's like wearing 3 layers of jackets and stuff. She's got a hat on. And she's like got all these bags. And then you see that like when she looks over at the car and she saw you look up, she had like this big like kind of crazy grin on her face, like kind of not like a really joyful grin, but the kind of like fake rictus type grin that you get when someone's on drugs.
Like the weird grin where it's just that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're
and then
actually
like
happy.
she waves at you like she's just specifically trying to say hi to you, which is what provoked you to wave back because
Yeah.
it's natural human instinct.
Because it's just like some lady just covered in bags and jackets, and she a little odd to be honest.
It pretty much sounds exactly like the bag lady you've seen over the weekend. But you
Why?
didn't see her, he did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna stop the car and look for her. I know she's gonna be gone. Like I make him describe to me in detail.
Yeah.
I described to him in
So
detail.
the interesting thing about the detail of his story is that this bag lady was standing like in the midst of this crowd and waving,
Mhm.
and you know enough that in every single instance she's ever been, she smells so badly that people
Yep.
wouldn't stand near her at all.
And she didn't notice me.
Right.
Like pay any attention.
Like she's
Like react to anything. Really.
exactly.
What's
You know
up,
what?
Al?
I will pull over and we'll get out and walk over. This sounds like something completely different.
Why are we pulling over, Hale?
I got something I want to check out. This lady has been showing up and weirding me out and others, and
Okay,
I'm just gonna give her a talking to, man.
I'll come with.
We've had complaints.
So you get over there, and it turns out it's a bunch of like people in line and some tourists, and they're got their faces up against this glass, and you can tell that they're all. And as soon as you get over there, or as soon as you get near, you can smell that horrible urine smell.
Okay.
And they're outside of the famous popcorn shop.
Do you smell
Do
that,
I
Hardy?
smell it?
It smells so great. So Chicago has this super famous like cheese and caramel popcorn shop that makes just these two kinds of popcorn, and they keep the doors open during holiday seasons, and you can smell it. It's like this sweet, savory popcorn smell. It's fantastic, and people are watching, and the machines are doing it, and there's a line of people waiting to buy their like famous Chicago popcorn.
You can see me actively taking delicious whiffs of the air.
no.
Just like,
Oh, this is like that episode of Invader Zim where all she could taste was ham.
Or that
I'm
episode.
unfamiliar with this episode, but I feel like I need to watch it now.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
So
everyone seems to be very
I'm gonna push through the crowd towards the source of the smell against.
the urine smell.
Yeah.
That's hard to tell because like you smell it as soon as you get here, and when you're standing on the sidewalk, it's the strongest.
So you said she was in the middle of this crowd, like right
just
about
standing-
here.
She was just sort of standing there,
Yeah.
staring at me.
You feel like you're standing near where she might have been. You can't be sure exactly
Yeah.
where it was.
And I'm looking around like a little more frantically.
Yeah, there's nothing to see
'Cause
here
this
except
is
a
kind
bunch of. In fact,
Wait,
some
go-
people are starting to get a little annoyed because you're like cutting in line, and they're like, "What's this cop doing?"
Is it a line or a mob?
It's both because there's a line of people trying to get in to buy, and
Okay.
then there are people just
What are
looking
you
because
trying to
like it's
buy?
got this cool like
Caramel
popcorn.
popcorn.
Oh, popcorn.
Yeah, it's got this cool machine that they have. It's like an old timey spinning like.
Oh, no, there.
Oh, where it's like on like sideways spinning or like.
It's almost like a cement truck thing that they have.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
seen
and they
those.
make it in the
Cool.
shop, and so people gather and
That's
watch
cool.
it. That's really nifty.
Well, I
Get some
I
popcorn
smell it, but she's not here.
Everyone else
So-
smells delicious popcorn. It's making you hungry.
Yeah, I start standing in line because I get distracted. Well, he's frantically looking around, just waiting for popcorn.
Some people look like they're murmuring a bit. and
I'll
you
get in
realize
line-
that
I'll
you
get in
kind of
line
cut
too.
in, but because you're a cop, you were like, oh, man. But they don't want to make a scene.
Especially since it's a Chicago.
I noticed they're upset. I'll buy their popcorn for them.
Really?
The people behind us.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Okay.
They are very excited. The Japanese tourists are going to go home and tell these great stories about the generous Chicago cops that they met.
That's good PR.
That bought them
Yeah.
$120 worth of popcorn.
Oh my god, that's
Wow.
not what I was anticipating.
Just put it on the credit card.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Isn't cheap.
Oh,
If
put it on
it's
the-
more than a family of 5, you don't buy.
Notice how many there were.
It's only 6 of them.
I'm too
But
distracted
have
by all the
have you gone
urine.
up- Have you gone up to Kookaburra? That stuff is like $25 a pop. Like,
Gosh,
I
this
know, it's
is
ridiculous.
party.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
it's
who
pretty
sells
expensive.
popcorn by the pound?
This is why I don't have my parents send any to me, because it's like, I don't want you to ship me $25 a pound popcorn. It's actually more than that, I think, because I think the small 2-ounce bag is like $5.
Get out of
That
here.
sounds more good. All right, well, we wait in line and buy popcorn. Does it smell any better inside?
Yeah, once you're inside, it smells delicious.
Oh my
like
God.
yummy popcorn.
Follow your nose.
All right. I love popcorn. I eat popcorn.
Yeah, so this takes you like the next like 25 minutes because you have to stand in line, wait your turn. People like
we
looking
couldn't find the
around.
lady.
Yeah.
So we might as well get
But you
the
got
car-
popcorn, so
Yeah.
mission
Yeah.
successful.
I got caramel.
Yeah.
You got the cheese one, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
So you guys get the two kinds. Is very cool. By the time you get done and you're out, the smell is gone. Also, it's very clear
Figures.
that there's some really annoyed people because you double parked your cruiser there, and it's like creating kind of an issue.
I didn't party. He
jeez.
drove.
Because there's no way you would have found like parking. You just like stop.
So we just double parked it together. We just get in our cruiser and leave.
It just looks like you just bought popcorn.
We're on. Wait, Nick. We're like on like.
Yeah, this really looks like you just stopped the cruiser in the middle of Michigan Avenue to buy popcorn.
That was a little more disruptive than I meant.
Officer, what are you doing? Trigger operation, kid.
Hey, get down off of there. That's government property.
Yeah. Tax dollars at work.
Here, kids, throw on the trash.
Hey,
Get my...
this fits perfectly because Mayor Emmanuel has such low popularity ratings right now. It's like right up the alley. It's like, yeah, of course the cops are doing this now
They
because
can get away with it.
he's a jerk. So,
Yeah, and comparatively, they're still great. So
We bought kids pop. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, so let's wrap it up with the Monday morning scene because before you go see Patricia, you come to work because you're meeting her at lunchtime, right, for coffee?
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait,
so
were you
you're
going to call me tonight?
I was. But
Oh, darn it.
You can call me tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll forget tonight.
Okay, good.
My son.
Oh, that's right, because your friend just told you that you need to cut your son's brain open.
Yeah.
So that's going to distract you from calling some random kid who asked you what you thought the social
But you were
implications
going to call me
were.
about this thing. Whatever. You can call me tomorrow.
All right, so
Busy
in the
day.
morning you come to work and people are super upset, and as soon as you arrive, you're confronted by the hospital physician and the night security person,
Mhm.
and they're like, so those guys are dead.
What?
Excuse me? They're dead?
Yeah, remember those two guys that like went crazy last night?
Yes.
Yeah, we came in this morning and they were dead.
Did you do an autopsy? Did you see what they died of?
So
Oh, it's just been this morning, right?
yeah. So number one, you know that you don't have housing facilities here at the prison, so
Oh,
you have
no.
to ship them off to the
Oh.
coroner. But they do tell you that they were just dead. Like, oh, I died of a broken nose type of death. Like they were fine when they locked down for the night yesterday, and everything was fine. They were super happy that they did not have to go back to their cells. And then we came in this morning, and there was a corpse in the bed.
Oh my gosh.
And then we went to solitary to check on the other guy, and he was just in solitary, and he was dead.
Okay. So, I guess my next thing is to move the other inmate that was in the cell in solitary because he's going to be a suspect in this.
Bobby?
Because he's new, and he's a drug dealer, and both of these people are dead. So there's like reasonable suspicion.
That is well
here.
within your prerogative. You
Perfect.
can do whatever you want with these people.
Okay.
You just have to pay out
all of their lives.
fill out the paperwork. That is the
Okay.
only thing that irks you the most, because having prisoners die for no reason on your watch is probably the worst possible thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, they didn't die for no reason. Has anything been like touched or anything?
literally, the doctor tells you that there is absolutely no explanation. That they were fine. Like, it's possible that the guy in solitary, like, he basically throws out a whole bunch of things like, oh, maybe there was a simultaneous aneurysm. It could have been a heart attack. We won't know unless we can get coroner's reports. But there is no obvious, visible sign of why this could have happened. Like, there's like,
Okay.
he speculates that maybe when his buddy punched him in the nose, he, like, did something to his brain and it took a while for him to die. Maybe during the altercation where you were wrestling him out of the infirmary, something could have happened. He's very circumspect about what he's sharing with you because he realizes that if any of this sounds like it was your fault, this could become a huge situation.
Oh.
He's very worried that there's any indication that something went wrong with the operations of the infirmary and it could be his career.
Yeah.
If it turns out that they... So he's like speculating, but he's not putting anything on the table.
Okay,
as
well,
to
I
any-
want to see both of them. I want to see, like, are they still there? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I want
Because
to.
you're there for your shift, so
Yeah.
like it would have been just within the last hour that they were found.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I want to go look at where they are, see if there's anything suspicious for myself.
So the guy in the infirmary is literally still handcuffed to the bed, and he looks pretty much like you left him. His nose is still broken.
Mhm.
There's like congealed blood, and his nose is off kilter. He's like got bruising and stuff like that. But other than that,
So he's dead.
he's just dead.
Okay. There's no, like, signs of anything. There's nothing in his pockets. There's nothing like.
So he's in his prison uniform, so he doesn't have pockets.
Okay.
You
God, no pockets.
can decide how far you want to go. You can have him stripped down and look over his entire body. That is also within your prerogative if you want to ask for that.
Give him a little look-see.
Check
him out. You know, just a dead guy.
Just a dead guy.
Peekaroo.
Great.
Bring a hot plate with you.
Just a little piece. Just a little nibble.
Roll for how big your
bit.
pound of flesh is.
Y'all are fucking weird.
Ooh,
But
85.
I'm gonna think about maybe if we can I have somebody else do it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, the doctor is here.
Okay.
You could have
I'm
him do
gonna,
whatever you want as long as it doesn't violate.
I'm just gonna
Protocol.
ask him to check the body, make sure there's nothing hidden,
You're gonna
there's nothing we're missing.
you're gonna order the doctor to remove his clothes.
I'm going to tell him to check the body thoroughly because there's something that we're missing here and we need to figure out the reason. Otherwise, this could be a liability, which is not something I'm willing to risk. So,
Right now, ma'am?
yes, before and we need to call people to pick him up. We need to call the couriers or
Coroners
whatever.
office,
Coroners.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you said right now, he has his assistant come over and start removing the clothing.
Perfect.
So this is all happening in front of you. They strip him down. So now you have a naked corpse in front of you.
Great.
He seems like this is what he would look like. He's got some ink. He's like, looks like he might have had some bruising, but nothing that would be fatal. You also don't have enough medical knowledge necessarily to know whether or not like any of this would be like recent or within like last month or so. Flip him over. Looks fine. I mean, what you can see on the surface makes it seem like he was not injured or harmed in any way.
Okay, so no like needle pokes or anything.
You're
like
not.
that.
You don't have enough
Does the doctor?
specific. Not enough specificity. Like like if he was poked by a needle
Mhm.
and poisoned, a cursory exam like this is not going to reveal it. Like he can spend a lot of time and do very careful like autopsy like analysis,
Mhm.
but it would take him like another hour to
Yeah.
with the body if you want him to be that thorough.
And I don't think is he authorized to do that?
That would probably not be normally allowed because that should be part of the coroner's report.
Oh.
And there should be this like chain of authority where you don't somehow like. It could be a cover-up situation if it turns out he finds something, and then you ask him, "Oh, we don't want this to be found."
Oh, I'm gonna check the cell then. After that was all.
Where Bobby is?
Yeah.
He is laying there in bed.
Oh wait, is there anything hidden in any of the other bunks?
Oh,
Is there
you tossed
anything
this
that
out.
looks
So yeah,
searching.
it turns out that the bunk that he is in has some like girly magazines, some cigarettes,
Contraband.
yeah, like a joint.
Oh, okay. So there's reasonable suspicion that he could get something from wherever we want it.
So
Okay.
it's very clear, and you've been in the business long enough to know that this always happens. Almost everyone has some kind of contraband.
Yeah.
It's an excuse that if you ever need to toss a cell and find something, you pretty much know you always can, but it's not something that you do routinely, and if you actually try to police it, it would probably cause a riot because there's kind of an understood we get away with this stuff as long as we don't like create problems and whatnot. But yeah, this like none of this is out of the ordinary. Like,
And we checked the cigarette packs, and there's nothing in them, and there's nothing weird in the joint except for.
not that you can tell. I mean, again, if you want to send them all for forensic analysis, you could, but again, you wouldn't get results right away.
Okay.
What is interesting is that Bobby seems to either be completely unaware that any of this was even here,
Mhm.
or didn't care about it whatsoever. Like he basically said, "Oh, my cellmates are gone, so I'm just gonna sleep here in this bottom bunk because it's here."
Okay. I'm gonna move him to solitary, and then have the place completely cleaned and ready for new inmates.
Oh, okay,
Because I can put him someplace else. Like there's 2 more inmates.
easily,
You know?
easily.
Yeah. Okay. So and then wait for test results. Also, put more security on because there's a specific suspicion of it being related to him. I want more security in solitary.
Okay. They are a little bit surprised because the whole point of solitary is generally that nothing gets in or out.
Mhm.
So usually solitary is actually no security at all because the cameras are because basically you're not
Oh,
gonna. So if you want someone there, you can definitely assign someone there.
Yeah.
Your staff will find it unusual because
Oh.
generally the whole point of solitary is.
Is it going to matter if I have someone there?
Well,
I mean-
in terms of what, like.
In terms of security.
Oh yeah, it can. I
Yeah.
mean, if there was a chance that something would happen, I mean, you have human eyes there rather than just the camera.
Yeah.
So that can matter, but in terms of whether or not like it would create repercussions, like it's basically you're assigning a guard from one part of the prison to another,
Yeah.
and that guard would probably go, "Well, this is stupid."
Oh. Well, yeah, they can say it's stupid. That's fine.
Yep.
I don't care.
They obey because that's their job. They think it's weird because normally no one guards the hall outside of solitary confinement. But if that's what you want,
You know, yeah.
okay. All right, let's wrap it here then. This is
Ooh.
so it's gonna take you another day or so to get. Oop.
Oh, that was just a little drum roll.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something you had to sneak in.